Alright fellas, we just saw the return of Naoya Inoue and well, it didn't go the way as planned. We saw him step back into the ring with TJ Doheny in a comeback fight which many were critical of. Yet it still proved to be a decent fight but with a bit of a weird ending. So today I want to talk about before the fight itself and what the future holds for Naoya the Monster Inoue. So let's get right into it. Now Inoue versus Doheny was a fight that no one was really calling for, but it was a fight which really was never meant to happen in the first place. Inoue was meant to be in the ring with Aussie Sam Goodman. It was what was teased, but because of Goodman deciding he wanted to take a so-called ridiculous tune-up fight, later on I'll get into why he's personally one of my least favourite boxers even as an Aussie, but this fight we saw tonight wasn't the first choice. Goodman wanted it at the end of the year and well, Inoue doesn't like long gaps, so they go looking. Doheny is on a win streak in Japan and is in the top 10 of quite a few rankings. He's known to the Japanese public and was the easiest fight to make within the top 10. They didn't have many options on short notice which worked promotionally, so that's why the fight happened. The former IBF world champion Doheny loves fighting in Japan and had some huge wins recently there, upsetting solid homegrown prospects to put him in the position he's in. And at the end of the day, he was in the right place at the right time, and he just wasn't the first option. Also quickly, the media criticism of this fight, especially in the West, was way overdone. We're talking about a fighter in Inoue who basically never voluntarily takes tune-up fights. And even when he can't take the next best fight, his fights are against the best guy that they can pull at the time. I think something to keep in mind whenever you hear discussion about Inoue, especially by the American press, is that they are often trying to undermine his achievements, because they struggle with the idea of having their golden boy on the same pedestal as Inoue. And if we ever see him lose, watch the American press come with their knives out. They did it with his flash knockdown. If you ever put on a close decision performance like Crawford did recently, watch him get the complete opposite media reaction. But back on track. Now the fight week was nothing out of the ordinary. Both fighters incredibly professional, in perfect shape, nothing really to note. When it comes to fight night, just a few quick notes on the undercard. We saw the return of Old Man Barroso against Andy Hirooka. Hirooka is simply another rising star coming from Japan. He's at super light, which is a bit heavier than most of the other talent, but by winning this I reckon he's set himself up with a world title match against Jose Valenzuela. Then it was the return of Yoshiki Takei, and I gotta say he's one of my favourite up and coming fighters. He's already a world champ, and in his 10th fight he's already defending world titles. A skillful fighter which managed to pull off the solid decision win, definitely one to look out for. When it came to the Inoue fight, it was a bit odd to be honest. The first 6 rounds to me was a usual Inoue performance. He was sussing out his opponent, trying an array of different things, yet seemed in control for most of the fight. Doheny was throwing quite a few shots, but almost all of them were seeming to hit Inoue's gloves. A couple got through, but really nothing major. The major thing that seemed to give Inoue trouble was that southpaw stance and that incredibly wide stance that Doheny brought. Doheny's best chance was keeping the fight pace slow and that straight left, but Inoue shut both of those things down pretty quickly, and he then smartly went to the body, which is a pretty smart thing to do against older fighters. These targeted body attacks were slowly paying off, with Doheny falling victim to Inoue's pace, and Doheny's technique was slowly looking to tire. Yet weirdly, at the start of the 7th round, Doheny grabbed at his back and the fight was called off. There was no confirmed reports as I'm making this video, yet Doheny seemed to have some sort of significant back problem, which he seemed not to be able to walk very well with. So the fight was called off. The way the momentum was shifting, I reckon by the 9th we would have seen Inoue get the win. Yet Doheny put up a decent fight, and I think he put up a performance which should, other than the injury, seem to invalidate the criticisms of him being a complete pushover. Yet where now do we look for the monster? Well, it was stated after the fight that we would have one more fight where he would defend his titles in Japan at the end of the year, and then it was announced that he would have a United States return in Las Vegas early next year. Firstly, with that upcoming Japan defense at the end of the year, it's most likely going to be Sam Goodman. If you've watched my previous video, you would understand how much I dislike this bloke. To summarize, he is an incredibly overrated fighter, yet his last 2 bouts have been against a bloke currently ranked 192nd in the world, and the most recent was a bloke where they looked at the top 50 and went, who is the easiest fight, and they pulled this bloke out of Thailand, who the fight before was literally fighting at night bazaars, and they still had the audacity to charge for pay-per-view prices in Australia, charging the public $60 to watch it. Goodman came into the ring at the Inoue Neri fight and demanded that Inoue gives up his belt if he isn't gonna fight him. all to duck Inoue for a tune-up fight against the easiest bloke they could find, only to almost lose, with this no-name literally dancing in the ring by the 12th, with Goodman gasping for air in his corner. Don't let this biased scorecard fool you. Goodman is next. The reason for it? Well, he's the mandatory for some of Inoue's belts. That's pretty much it. That's the reason he's next. What will we see here? Well, Goodman will probably last to the 7th to 9th. He isn't the worst boxer, but god, he is pretty overrated. It's not going to be anything that challenging, a pretty usual night out for Inoue, in my opinion. But past this fight, it was announced we will see Inoue return to America. Who against? Who really knows? I guess past Goodman, the path that was set out for Inoue was that he was going to move up weight divisions. Yet, as kinda seen in this fight, Inoue is a small 122 pounder. Remember, this guy started his career at 108 pounds. To move up to 126, I think he might be pushing it. Could we see him against an Espinoza, a Nick Ball, or Ray Vargas? I guess only time will tell. But this will be a massive event if it happens. And if he wins, it might finally force the Western media to admit how great he truly is. At that point, he has fought in America multiple times and would have put on major shows there. What will they say at that point? Well, he hasn't beaten Tank. Yeah, and Crawford hasn't beaten Bivol. That's the literal equivalent comparison. Yet now let me know all your thoughts on the bout that happened between Doheny and Inoue, and your thoughts on what might be in Inoue's future. But if you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing or liking. It really does help the channel. But thanks for watching, fellas, and I'll catch you in the next one.